This episode is brought to you by Bellator's Publishing, bringing stories to the world that last forever. She says, I wasn't blessed with magic that could simply conjure flame. The next chapter, when she is covered in tattoos, fire is one of the symbols on her fingers, alongside Quicksilver. We know that she has the power to manipulate Quicksilver, which suggests she also has the power to manipulate fire, and she's going to be able to conjure all these things or manipulate all these things in some way. So my theory is that she was. That's exactly what she was blessed with. Magic that could simply conjure flames. I think that one would be my favourite theory too. Although, just for the sake of entertainment, I'm going to take it one unhinged step further and say that she's going to be able to control the dragons as well with the Brimstone.
I mean, if I was saying that Quicksilver is taking over Kingfisher's body, why not the Brimstone like taking over the dragons?
Actually, it totally could, because, you know...
Hello and welcome to Faithfully Fantasy,
the husband and wife podcast talking all things Quicksilver.
I'm JC.
And I'm Sean.
And today we'll carry on with our deep dive of Quicksilver with chapters 26 to 28. And just heads out, we might use strong language and explore adult themes.
This episode will contain spoilers from Quicksilver, the Kingfisher POV chapters on Callie Hart's website, and snippets of information we've had from Callie Hart herself.
And before we start, quick reminder, if you want early access to our episodes, bonus content every month, and no annoying ads like this one, you can have all of this by becoming a supporter. You can try for free now and cancel anytime. For the best deal, visit faithfullyfantasy.com or simply subscribe on Spotify or Apple Podcasts for instant access. Don't miss out and become part of our community.
Also, if you're enjoying the show, please take a second to rate us wherever you're listening. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, all of it. It helps more fantasy lovers find us, and it's one of the easiest ways to support what we do. A quick tap and you've made our day.
And now, without further ado, let's enter the map tent.
So, imagine waking up in a stranger's bedroom, stubbing your toe, and then realizing your roommate is in the middle of a Quicksilver-induced meltdown. That's exactly where we pick up this week's deep dive. But Fisher insists he's fine, even when he's convulsing, sweating buckets, eyes glowing silver like a haunted disco ball, and still, he goes, nah, give me some water, I'll walk it off. So naturally, the only logical solution is to hold him close and share some traumatic childhood memories to distract him. I mean, what else are you going to do? But now they're trauma bonding, cuddling, and then in a turn of events that everyone saw coming, things get spicy. I'm talking shredded clothes and a mind-bending bliss like no other encounter. Anyway, the next morning, she wakes up with a stinky fox next to her face. But Fisher is in the kitchen, ready for coffee and tattoo cover-ups. Saeris is back in the forge, but she's had enough. She's smashing glassware against the hill. And the Quicksilver, it's mocking her. But Carrion has a revolutionary idea. Have you tried asking it what it wants? So now we're back in the map tent, and Saeris is pleading with the magical metal to help her whip up a sword. But the Quicksilver's attitude is basically, why would I help a wannabe warrior who's making a sword for the worst possible person in all of the worlds? Danya. Saeris insists it's all about justice, and cue the Quicksilver rolling its metaphorical eyes and demanding, bring me the blood and an epic playlist, and maybe we'll talk. Someone get that thing a Spotify subscription. Suddenly, the sword fragments pull themselves from the stone, King Arthur style, and Loreth materializes with a dramatic, need a hand? Saeris hugs the pot like it's her ticket out of there. She's now primed to forge something spectacular. Not some tiny dagger barely capable of inflicting a paper cut. A proper fucking sword.
Well, we finally start to see some progress with all the Quicksilver.
Some actual alchemy.
Yes. So we're going to talk about it in this deep dive, but now we're going to define print, the part of the show where we scour the pages for clues of what is to come. Chapter 26.
Ash and Cinders. So the title is said in this chapter, like all of them, she says, "But I stayed and watched my mother's pyre until she was ash and cinders on the breeze," which is tragic. But again, finding a double meaning. This is a good one. So obviously the ash and the cinders are what she has left of her mother's memory, but it also, ash and cinders is kind of like when something's really fragile, it could like collapse at any moment. And obviously Fisher is really fragile in this moment. This is a huge turning point for our main male character.
Yes, it's true, because this is the first time that we see him that actually he's struggling.
Yeah, it's the, again, like I call it the unbreaking of Kingfisher, because he is a broken man at this point, and he breaks even more in this chapter. But this breaking or this unbreaking is actually him being healed, and him, like Saeris kind of healing him, and yeah, it's just lovely, this bit. It's hard to read actually, but it is nice. So Fisher, as we said in the map tent, Fisher is screaming. She wakes up, stubs her toe, runs towards him. He's saying, "Stop, no, I said stop," or similar. Who's he talking to?
I'm thinking that he's just talking to the Quicksilver, because it seems that the Quicksilver here is taken from his body. So maybe showing like nightmares, stuff that he doesn't want to see, because all of that is on his brain, I think.
Yeah, I think he might be talking to Malcolm or maybe Taladeus in those early like times where Malcolm, we find out in the Maze POV chapter that Malcolm used to be really specific with what he asked Taladeus to do to him in the Maze. So I think he might be reliving one of those moments, or even that awful demon. I can't remember the name of the demon. You know, the one that's like a spider, where the coin is in its stomach.
Oh, yeah. The one that we'll see. Yes. No, I can't remember.
I can't imagine he'll be talking to that, because that responds to sound. So you've got to be really quiet. Oh, no, it's movement. Yeah, it's movement.
Yes, like a T-Rex from Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
Yes, but you know, this part reminds me as well Carrion, when he started to be in touch with the Quicksilver, that he started to screaming, and he was like shouting things that didn't make any sense by the time. So I'm thinking that maybe it's like the Quicksilver maybe expanding, because even Saeris said that the eye is like more silver than green. So it's like it's taking over, and then he is really being affected, like a regular person would be affected by the Quicksilver, showing like all the stuff they don't want to see.
Yeah, like making him relive traumatic. I think you're right. It does remind it does seem really similar to Carrion.
Yeah.
It's interesting because we know that she later tries to talk to the Quicksilver in Fisher's head and tries to say, just leave him and leave him alone, get out. Can you not just escape his body? And they're like very interconnected. The Quicksilver says that if it leaves Kingfisher, Kingfisher will die. Just like if Kingfisher leaves them, they will die. They are the one and the same. So there's been several occasions where you might think he would have stayed the night before this point. Even when they go back to the apartment after the festival, the party and Ballard, he says she needs to sleep in another room. And there's another instance where he could have stayed the night with her but didn't.
Yeah.
And this is why, isn't it? Because he doesn't want her to see his nightmares. But she thought before this that it was because he didn't want to stay the night with her, that it was just like purely lust. But actually now she's finding out why. I don't think she puts two and two together in this moment, but to me it's pretty obvious that he doesn't want her to see the nightmares.
Yeah. The only thing that we don't know for sure is how often this happens, if it happens every single night, or is when maybe he starts to feel that the Quicksilver is getting stronger, because those moments when he is like robbing the temples, I think is when he starts to feel that it's getting stronger. The Quicksilver is just talking louder, and for him it's hard to control. And I guess if you combine that with him maybe just getting weaker or tired or constantly fighting this, it will come a time that Quicksilver just overtakes.
So I find Onyx's actions really interesting in this point, because Onyx is in the room with Saeris. Saeris wakes up, and then Saeris runs to the room, but Onyx goes first. Onyx is not staying with Kingfisher. So Onyx is definitely there for Saeris and not Kingfisher.
Yeah.
But then when Saeris goes to get Kingfisher a drink of water, because he says that's all he needs, Onyx, like, climbed up onto the bed and tucked himself into Fisher's side, like resting his head on Fisher's stomach. And then he whined at Saeris as if he was trying to tell her something. She knows that obviously Onyx is trying to tell her something. This is super interesting because if Onyx was somebody like, had the spirit of Fisher's mum, you would think that Onyx would be staying with Kingfisher and not Saeris.
Yeah.
So it makes me think that it's not. Although I do think he is related to Kingfisher's mum. He obviously cares about Fisher and is worried about Fisher. But he wouldn't have been necessarily in Saeris's room. Onyx does some really weird things in these 2 chapters, like smiling at her after things get spicy in the morning, and just does some really weird things.
Yeah.
And just the fact that we're in Ballard still, we're in the house of his mum. I'm just getting the vibes where I don't necessarily think it is his mum anymore, but I do think there's a relation. Like, this isn't the first time that Onyx has been in this house. I'm just desperate to know who Onyx is.
Yes. For me, the part that it was interesting was when Onyx put his head in Fisher's stomach. And later on, it's basically what Saeris does with him, that he put Fisher's head like in her stomach, or it's just they're feeling really close. So it was kind of like maybe Onyx telling him what to do or how to be with him in daytime, like keeping close. Because I find that interesting that it was exactly that kind of position, what it happens after with Saeris and Fisher.
Yeah, and I kept getting vibes that, like, maybe Onyx was linked to the gods here, and this was the way that they were keeping an eye on him. And, like, were happy when they got together because the gods bonded. Like, I don't know. I've got so many thoughts and so many ideas, and I was convinced that Onyx was Fisher's mom, but I'm just, like, dissecting, obviously, which is, like, my job here, but dissecting every move that fox makes.
Yeah. Could we even think that maybe it's Fisher's dad? I don't know, that maybe he came back as a fox.
Yeah. We did think that, didn't we? We said that last week because we only saw the fox, obviously, in Avelia. At that point, the portal had been opened. Just the question would be, why is Onyx not revealing himself if it's Fisher's dad? One, it could be that he doesn't want anyone to know he's there and he's like playing a long game. But you'd think that if or maybe he physically can't transform back.
It's like his fault. Yeah, something happened to him when he went back to the Winter Palace. Something happened to him.
Like a ward.
Yeah, and then boom, turned into a fox.
Yeah. So yeah, it could be. Then do we think the fox is actually Elroy? Can't be, because Carrion's seen Elroy.
Yeah, Elroy is definitely there, so which means that Elroy has to be somebody else. I still think that he's a fae. The clues are there, but it might not be like related to Fisher. Might be related to Saeris.
Yeah. Oh, there's so many mysteries. I think we'll find more out about Onyx in Brimstone. I'm excited for Onyx and Saeris to be reunited because obviously she's at Sanus Roth. Yeah. Onyx is still at Carlish. So there is a moment here where the lights are all out, the candles have all been extinguished, and she can't see where she's going. So she's like trying to find stuff, water, etc. She says a couple of things in this chapter that make me think she's going to be able to conjure fire. Like it's going to be one of her powers once she masters it. She says, I wasn't blessed with magic that could simply conjure flame.
Yeah.
So my theory is that she was. That's exactly what she was blessed with. Magic that could simply conjure flame. The next chapter, when she is covered in tattoos, fire is one of the symbols on her fingers, alongside Quicksilver. We know that she has the power to manipulate Quicksilver, which suggests she also has the power to manipulate fire, and she's going to be able to conjure all these things or manipulate all these things in some way. We'll get to the point and we'll talk about the tattoos a bit later, but I do think that this is just another bit of foreshadowing, because it specifically says, I wasn't blessed with magic that can simply conjure flame. And I'm like, yes, you were. You just haven't figured it out yet.
It seems that maybe she's going to be able to manipulate, like, basically all the elements.
Yeah.
So obviously fire is going to be one of them.
Brimstone is another one.
Yeah.
It's not mentioned in this set of chapters, but Malcolm mentions it later. He translates the tattoos and he says Brimstone.
Yes.
So Fisher wants her out of there. He's a bit embarrassed, I think. He doesn't want her to see this or see him at his most vulnerable. And he says, if you won't leave, I'll make you leave. And then she goes like pretty angry and she says something like, you are never going to compel me again. Do you understand? And he says he understands and he nods.
Mm-hmm.
So we've previously speculated that he will use this again in some way to save her. And she's going to be really angry and there's going to be some tension and he's going to go one way and she's going to go the other. Just for book 2, because that is quite a common theme in second books where they're
split,
separated in some way and there's miscommunication and things. But he did say he understands and he did nod. And Wren told us earlier that Fisher was like true to his word.
Mm-hmm.
So if Fisher says something, he will do it.
I think maybe he understands that he can't do it just for this kind of stuff, just like bang stuff. But I'm pretty sure that it will come to time that maybe he sees that that is the only option to save her life or to protect her. And maybe he will do it because he might think that he's sacrificing himself to save her.
Yeah.
So it's going to be like, okay, I'm doing it, but I know that I won't see her ever again, but she will be fine or she will be alive.
Yeah, and she doesn't say, like, don't ever do it again. She says, if you do it, I will find some way to make your life
miserable.
Mm-hmm. And, like, maybe that's what's going to happen, that he will do it and then she'll hate him for a while.
I think it has to be, like, something really big. Maybe, it has to be, like, he's sacrificing himself because he's a martyr. So.
Yeah, he is. And come to it later, don't we? But his biggest tattoo is sacrifice.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And they always say one of the God's bonded pair end up dead.
Yeah.
They're not going to, though, because of what Saeris says at the end. So it's all going to be fine.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But it's interesting here because he was just trying to tell her that no, that everything will be fine. That it's kind of like a normal thing that happened to him, and that this will go over maybe in an hour or maybe 2 maximum. But past 4 hours, and he's still basically in the same state. So is this saying that maybe the Quicksilver is overtaken over his body? And
It's
then listen,
worse.
little by little, he's losing control, and it's gonna be worse and worse until maybe it will come a time that he won't be able to, I don't know, go back to himself.
Yeah, I think so. And I'd like the question that we're just assuming here that this is because of the Quicksilver.
Mm-hmm.
Why would the Quicksilver do this? Obviously, doesn't want to harm Fisher because it's part of Fisher, but it just is. So why would the Quicksilver do this?
I don't think there's a Quicksilver choice. I think it's just like it's nature. So every living thing that's touching the Quicksilver, it will just get this kind of reaction. So it's like if you touch acid, just because it's burning you, doesn't mean that acid is a bad thing. It's just that it's bad for you, but that's just the nature. So I think, you had the relics to protect against this thing, but the relic, we don't know how much magic can have and how strong the Quicksilver can get because it's inside Kingfisher.
Yeah, I guess so. It's just that we know that Quicksilver does have a choice in a lot of things. It can choose whether it wants music, whether it wants a joke, but I get where you're coming from, because Quicksilver is just an old-fashioned word for mercury, and people who used to work with mercury in like thermometers and science equipment, putting it in the glass, they used to go mad. So it's quite they would go mad with the exposure to the mercury. So it's quite a good play on that, the fact that that is a known thing that's happened in history. And now Mercury, if anyone's working with Mercury, you have to be like extremely cautious with lots of protective equipment. So it's quite a nice, I love these things where you can look back in history and think, it was Quicksilver. Maybe these people weren't going mad. Maybe the Mercury was talking to them. You know, how obviously that isn't the case. But I just love thinking about how you could explain things away with magic in history, even though obviously.
Well, we don't know. No,
Yeah,
actually we
exactly, like dragons. That's the thing. So
Yeah.
many different cultures have dragons in their history.
Yes.
It's weird if everyone makes it up. Saeris said, she puts her hand close to his. I don't think they're holding hands, but I think they're just like touching skin. She says, I wasn't surprised when the ink beneath his skin drew closer to the places where our skin met. I watched it climb my fingers, forming shapes and then runes and delicate designs as they inched upwards. And this is like they're with each other at a time that's really difficult. They're choosing to support, or she's choosing to support him. So this is like part of her subconsciously accepting the bond, whether she's physically saying, I accept it or not. And obviously she still has a choice. She doesn't have to accept it. But I think this is the bond, like getting more comfortable with her, and it's just creeping up her arm. But his tattoos are fascinating. They like move across his skin. They can transfer onto her. It's really cool.
Yeah, it's exactly like Maui with Moana. Tattoos are just
although
live.
the tattoos don't creep onto Moana, but yeah.
Yeah, but she got tattoos as well in the end.
She does, yeah.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, from the god. So we learn quite a lot about Saeris' life in this part. So we learn her father was a trader. He was out at one of the trade outposts and a sand dune collapsed and her dad died in that accident. By your logic, we didn't see a body. She didn't see a body, so he might not actually be dead. Might come back later. Might have been a fae. I don't know why he would have just upped and gone though. But anyway. And then her mother became a prostitute because the income, presumably from the library where she worked before, because we know she also worked in the library, presumably that was just not enough income for a single mother. Mum worked in the library, dad died, mum became a prostitute, started bringing clients home, and then became a member of the resistance and started making little daggers and taking them to work.
I was surprised when she was saying that the mother didn't have like enough to pay with the work that she was doing. It has to be a prostitute to get more income. But then later on it says that she was just like really cheap. That some of them would say that they got her just with like a glass of beer or something like this. So how much money can you make as a librarian?
No, I don't think that was true though. But then you think about the way that money trades hands in the third. And she said earlier that people trade things, like they trade food or they trade, and like being paid for whatever you do, whether it's prostitution or whether it is working in a library, they're very different things. But whether you're paid in money or whether you're paid in something that you've got to buy with the money, it doesn't actually make a difference. Money is just a made up thing, isn't it? That cuts out the middleman, that becomes the middleman. Because in history, not many people would have had money. People would have been like the bakery, or the baker would have made bread and swapped it for vegetables from the farm, and then people would bring meat, and instead of taxes, like people didn't pay taxes to the church, they brought produce and so
really, if you are somebody that making like sofas, you're not going with a sofa in your bag all the way to trade it for a glass of water.
No, but you wouldn't. Like people would just
that's why you need the money, so it's easier.
Yeah, it doesn't. That's a good point. So you just don't have to carry around all your stuff. But yeah, it feels like that is reasonable that she would get paid sometimes in things that she would have otherwise just bought, especially in such place like that where there won't be a lot of money.
Yeah.
And Elroy made the weapons. So this is the confirmation that obviously he's a glass maker. Wink, wink. He does glass.
Yeah.
But he is also obviously doing something else. But at that time, he was the one that was making the weapons for the resistance.
Yes. What is curious as well is that at the beginning, her mother started having clients that were madras guards. And then, obviously, little by little, when she started maybe being more part of the resistance, then she cut off the client base. And she didn't want to do or be with them anymore. So I was wondering if maybe at the beginning, she was just doing it to get more information from them, to be just like I don't know, like a kind of like a spy,
informant, yeah.
getting information from them while they are in these moments. Maybe she can just ask,
like not vulnerable, like compromised.
not thinking basically.
Yeah, and why would they suspect a prostitute? Yeah, I think you're right. I think that would have been a big motivation for doing it, or it could have been the other way around, in that she needed the money, she became a prostitute. Then she saw how many of Madra's guards were there, and then she became an informant because she was like, I could use this to take them down. So something triggered her, didn't it? Whether it was that way around or the other way around. But I'm looking forward to learning a bit more about her mum. There are some little inconsistencies that need to be explained in the next books before we start calling them like editing errors, where, for example, the one that she's running through the town at the beginning and everyone loved her mother and they let her through. And then in this story, we find out that they didn't love her mother. And in fact, they were like saying some really gross things when she was dead on the floor. And they even pissed on her in the street. Like that is not a community that loved this woman.
Yeah.
And that's very inconsistent with what she said before. So unless there was different parts and where they lived, they knew that she was a prostitute, but perhaps when she was running by the library, and people in that part of the village, the town, city, the third, knew her from the library. So there's a little bit of a character inconsistency there that does either need to be explained, or we just suspect that it was not edited out.
Yeah.
So the story about her mum is so sad. Iris Fane. Her throat was slit in the street in front of Saeris. So Saeris ran after her to give her a water ration, but by the time she got there, her throat was being slit by the guards because she was carrying a tiny knife in her bag. People were spitting on her, like I said, pissing on her in the street. Like that is just really, really sad. She went to get Elroy. Elroy took her out into the sand dunes, and the custom there is to burn them. Obviously, thinking about Hayden in that moment makes me feel really, really sad. Elroy had to take Hayden back because it was just too hot, but Saeris didn't leave her mother until she was just ash and cinders on the wind.
Yeah.
Really, really sad. And anyway, they wake up spooning. It was a simple contact between one person and another, grounding, intimate, a connection. It's really...
Yeah, I guess.
They don't wake up, sorry, they just start.
When he starts to move again, then is when he wants her like closer, because I think she opens to him with all these stories, and then he's just like maybe feeling connected, because he says at the end, I lost my mother as well because she was murdered, so we had that in common.
We have that in common, little Osha.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't think he's not able to talk about it in that moment. So he's like, instead of talking about it, I'm going to appreciate the closeness that she just gave me with trusting me with that story, with like contact.
Well, but he was tired as well, because even she said that when he's talking, he feels that he's just struggling to talk because he's so tired. And then I think he said just that. We had that in common, little Osha, and they just fall asleep.
That's like you, because I talk and talk and talk. And it's like 1 o'clock in the morning and you're just like falling asleep and I'm still talking at you.
Funny part is that you're always like yawning, sleeping on the sofa, and we need to go to bed. We go to bed, and then it's born. It's like telling me all these stories. Like a little child when you don't get information about the school, but always when he goes to bed, he starts to tell absolutely everything with the most minimal detail.
Yeah, that's me.
Memoirs of Luz Bell. She loved him. She lost him. And he came back. But wasn't completely him. She feared him. She fought him. But she fell for him. Memoirs of Luz Bell. Now available on Amazon.
Chapter 27.
Yes, marked.
So the title, obviously the tattoos. She, after the deed, the tattoos like take over her body. But marked is also a way of saying you will end up dead at some point. So you can be a marked man or a marked woman, and that just means that you're going to be dead.
Yeah, like you had a target basically in your back.
Yeah. And obviously love this because we know that in the story the tattoos are there because they are gods bonded. So it means they have been selected by the gods, and that they're a mating bond stronger than no other. In fact, these mating bonds have not been around for thousands of years. In a gods bonded story, we find out from Telena, one of them always ends up dead. And I just love the link between being a marked person and the prophecy that in these stories, one of them always ends up dead. So one of them is always a marked man. I just really think that's clever.
What is interesting for me is it seems that Fisher is always thinking that she is the one who's going to die. That it's not going to be him, it's going to be her. And I'm wondering if maybe Kali Hart is doing this on purpose, and then maybe something's going to happen, and then Fisher is going to be the one who has to die. And then it's something that we don't see coming.
Yeah, I don't think they're gonna die.
No, but not that he's going to die, but he's going to make us think that it's him, the one who's going to die because something happened and then we don't know what happened to him, or cliffhanger or something.
Yeah, maybe. In the end of book 2.
Yeah.
I don't know. I wonder about the cliffhanger. And this is probably something we need to talk about when we finish this. But I don't feel like it's a massive cliffhanger at the end of Quicksilver. I like that the story ends. So she becomes Fae vampire. And the story could end there. Obviously, it's not going to. But it's not a cliffhanger in the way that Fourth Wing, Iron Flame, Onyx Storm is a cliffhanger, is it?
Does depend on every single author. Not all the authors like to end in a cliffhanger. So it's a choice. But I see it most as an introduction to another world. Yeah. So it's like now we are on the other side. Now second book is going to be about this. Yeah.
It depends how she feels or felt at the end of writing Brimstone, but judging by Quicksilver, I wouldn't describe that as a cliffhanger. I like your description as a introduction to the next part. So yeah, we'll see. I just don't get. I could be proved wrong because she could be.
You still wonder what is going to happen now that she is the queen and all that kind of stuff, but not something that it just end abruptly and that you have no clue and you're desperate to know.
I'm still desperate because I fell in love with the characters. I'm still desperate to know what happens in Brimstone, but not because I read the page and thought, and then turned the page and there was nothing on the other side, and I was like, what? How can it end there? That's not how I felt, and I actually do prefer this style of ending a book than the where's the rest of it? Because you just feel a little bit like you've had such a great experience reading the book, and then all of a sudden you're like,
it's been cut.
Yeah, that where's the rest of it? Although I love those books as well, I just prefer this style of writing where it could end. It could be an ending, but you want to know more because you fell in love with the characters.
Yes.
Okay, so they can communicate mind to mind, which is good. They wake up and they're still together in the bed. He's awake. She can tell he's awake. And she just kind of Like, there's a whole theme of consent here where she knows that if she just backs away, nothing will happen. But she also knows that it's an invitation.
Yeah, he's basically like teasing her just to see like, are you interested in get something?
Yeah.
And then obviously she's like, okay, if I move, that is saying to him no, but if I carry on, then it's yes. And then obviously she wants to.
Yeah, it's like a really intimate. Like, this is totally different, isn't it, to all the others? Well, how many have we had?
First one.
Like the first one, and even to some extent, like in the forge, to a big extent in the forge at the beginning when she steals his ring. Like, this is completely different. This isn't this is that they're just getting closer, and it's just a bit more intimate.
Yeah, because the other ones, it was more like lost. The feeling, they were just like, okay.
Scratching an itch.
Yeah, basically. This one, it feels more like a couple. They're having like a really nice night together, close in bed.
Yeah, well, it's not really a nice night, is it?
I
I know what you mean.
After all the drama, after all the 4 hours of struggling,
the 4 hours
screaming
of
and
drama.
shouting. But yeah, it feels
And
more
the
like a couple. thing.
Retelling traumatic stories with their past. Not a nice night. Like, this is the kind of night where you'd wake up like puffy-eyed and not at all rested. So they can speak mind to mind, though. They're not mind reading. So we find out in the morning they're not mind reading. It only works when they deliberately speak to each other. She just says Fisher and I were randomly capable of speaking into each other's minds. And that, again, is part of the bond. But this feels like this bond is just like a trial period, a free trial. where
14 days trial, yeah.
Yeah. And then if you accidentally forget to cancel it, your credit card will be charged. A subscription to Kingfisher.
Yeah, but I wonder if there's more stuff that they can do, like maybe because I think it's after all this in the next chapter that he says to her that he knows always where she is. That I'm guessing that maybe they will have this kind of connection as well.
Yeah. This is similar to other books where you've got fays and their bonded mate. And it's described as like a tension line. It's kind of the same as the bond in Fourth Wing as well, where if you follow it, you will find them and you can like follow the bond. So I think he's the same.
Yeah, they know like how far away they are and they can find each other.
Yeah, based on the like imaginary tension feeling on a string that you could follow and find your mate.
Yeah.
It'd be useful to have that because then you wouldn't worry. You'd like know when somebody was going to get home or get to the place that they were going to be. Not worry so much.
Yeah.
I guess the modern day equivalent is like
WhatsApp location.
Yeah.
Share the location.
Sharing a location. Not ideal though. It rinses your battery. Yeah, he says some pretty racy stuff in this chapter. He says, I'm going to mark you in every way imaginable so that everyone knows you're fucking mine. That is like also another link to marked, isn't it? Because like kind of like a dog marks its territory on a walk. Well, it is kind of like that. It's like a triple meaning to the chapter title, which
is marking his own territory.
Yeah. And he doesn't care who knows it. He's just at this point he's accepting.
Yes, and obviously for her it's not the only mark that she wants from him, because then is when she goes bite me.
Yeah.
More marks.
Yeah, and then there's like some euphoria that ensues after that. Apparently this is like
I think it was just for the man. Well, I mean, the one who is biting, but it's both of them. Yeah.
Yeah, it makes me feel a bit sick. Like the whole rest of the thing is incredibly like well written and just like, I mean, it's part of the story. I get it. I just feel a bit sick when I think about blood in people's mouths.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Maybe it's just But the rest of the chapter is like very, very well written. In fact, I think Callie Hart is the best at writing these types of scenes. The best author that I've read writing these types of scenes. You don't feel like it's not forced, it's not made up, it's just incredibly normal and like natural. And she's good at it. Right, another clue to Saeris' potential future powers. She says, my body became a fiery torch.
Yeah.
I just think this is another hint that she can control fire. And we know that brimstone is an old-fashioned word for sulfur, just like Quicksilver is an old-fashioned word for mercury. So brimstone we associate with the dragons, with Omnam Chakrai. And yeah, I just feel like she's going to be able to control the fire. And whether it means that she can actually control fire or whether it means she can control the dragons is going to be really cool to find out.
Yeah, well, if she can control the Brimstone, doesn't mean that maybe the Brimstone will have as well like conscience, like the Quicksilver, and will talk to her.
And maybe that's her communicating with the dragons. Like, I'm so excited to find out what Brimstone means, but I am almost certain there's going to be dragons involved.
Oh, yeah. There's some major clues with Sunwrath, so I think we will see dragons.
The charred earth, and there's also obviously the Kingfisher. The Gate, part 1 and 2, where we know that Omnam Chakrai was allegedly the last dragon. I'm calling bullshit. There's going to be more dragons, and I am so here for it.
Yeah.
Okay, and then the morning. Onyx, Stinky Fox. Saeris wants the fox to take a bath. The fox doesn't like that. Doesn't like baths. Why would a fox not like baths? Does it wash away some kind of concealing magic? Anyway.
I think all animals, they don't like have a particular smell that other predators can find it, like dogs or cats. That's why when you watch a dog or a cat, the first thing they do is go to the grass and start to get in the smell again. Yeah.
But Onyx is smiling at her in the morning. So, number 1, Onyx is a pervert. Number 2, Onyx seems to approve of the new bond, which this is where I start to think, is Onyx sent by the gods? Is Onyx a messenger for a god? That kind of thing, because it approves of the tats, of the new body ink. But Onyx is like basically smiling at her like it knows what happened. Odd. Especially, this is what makes me think it can't be Fisher's mom.
Yeah, because it seems that the only thing that this fox needs to do there is just like wink or something like that.
Yeah.
Just like giving this grin. Like,
I know what happened.
Yeah.
And I approve. Weird. Just go and sit in the living room for a bit. Weird fox. So Saeris exits the bedroom because she notices that Fisher isn't there, and she's like, where's he gone? He's probably gone. He's probably left me here because, I mean, history. And he's not. He's just made her breakfast. Got Portuguese custard tarts, got some coffee on the pot, like on the stove, and she's got no clothes, but he magics her some nice, like, satin pajamas. All perfect. It's all very, like, demure. And there's a few things we notice. So all the dust sheets that were on all the furniture have gone, and there are paint pots and paintbrushes, pots of water on the mantelpiece. So this is where we get extra confirmation that Fisher's mom was a painter. And do you remember all the paintings in his room that were trash?
Yeah.
I am now I'm doubling down on my theory that they were pictures that contained references or at least images of Saeris. And he had to destroy them because he didn't want Saeris to see them because that would look creepy. It would look like he only just had them done. And she had fey ears and it was like some weird fantasy that he had. That would have been embarrassing. So he did the right thing shredding them off, I think.
Yeah. There's other books, even like TV shows and movies, when we have people that have visions and they just painting, and according with that painting is exactly what happens. So I think Edina was kind of oracle. She was painting maybe in a trance.
Yeah, and sketching.
Yes.
Yeah. So it turns out Fisher is an absolutely hopeless holiday packer All he's packed is 4 throwing knives, a field dressing kit, and a bottle of whiskey.
What else you need?
Pants, underwear. And I say pants because I mean,
Yeah, but with
underwear.
with a bottle of whiskey, we just won't care about anything else.
You do when you need to leave. And then do the shadow gate, and then you end up... I guess you could shadow gate her straight back into the bedroom at college, but she doesn't even have any clothes there either.
Yeah, but you can just made her, isn't
Yeah,
it?
he did.
That's right.
But he didn't give her any underwear.
Yeah.
So this is the interesting bit. She catches a glimpse of herself, either in the reflection of the window or a mirror or something.
Mm-hmm.
And there's runes, and she looks at herself. She's like, "Oh my god, I'm covered in runes." It wasn't just one rune; it was loads. One of the runes wasn't even black, so that means all the rest are black. So that gives us quite a good description.
Mm-hmm.
But one is a dark, iridescent blue-green color that flashes like metallic on her skin when it's caught in the light. And she's like, "What do they mean?" And then Kingfisher gives a bit of a translation. He said, "The one on the left means blessed one, blessed one." So obviously,
yeah,
God's
some reference to
blessed.
the gods.
Yeah.
Yes.
The fingers, and he kind of shrugs. He's like, "I mean, they mean loads of things," which is a bit frustrating because I would like him to translate all of them. He says a lot of them are connected. So we have light, dark, silver, steel, earth, air, fire, water.
Mm-hmm.
So that is 8 things. He doesn't mention the brimstone unless he's mistranslating fire as brimstone, although brimstone is more like dripping sulfur. So light is Ren's power, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Dark is Fisher's power.
Mm-hmm.
So is she going to also have the powers of Ren and Kingfisher? I think she will. I think she'll have everything. Silver, but he means Quicksilver.
Mm-hmm.
Steel, which is iron and carbon. Interesting that iron is deadly for the Fae.
Mm-hmm.
So how will that come into play when she can control the steel? Which means she could possibly have closed the Agen Gate just with her mind.
Yeah, just asking.
Yeah, I just ask it, yeah.
Yeah.
Earth, air, fire, water. Just these possibilities are endless, aren't they? She's going to have all the power. So I'm going to lock in the theory now that she'll be able to use all of these things once she learns how to harness her magic. And again, so I did take a look forward just to remind myself what Malcolm says at the end. And he says earth, air, fire, water, salt, brimstone, Quicksilver.
Mm-hmm.
So we know Quicksilver. We know Brimstone is the next book. So does that mean that the third book is going to be either earth, air, fire, water, or salt?
Never exciting names, to be honest.
It could be like
Salt.
Earth, Wind, and Fire, like the band. Yeah, but there could be another old-fashioned name for salt. Or any of these things. You know how like brimstone is sulfur, Quicksilver is mercury.
Yeah.
So there could be another old-fashioned word. We'll have to get hunting.
Yeah.
But it would follow the pattern, wouldn't it? That we're going to follow her as she learns to manipulate another one of these powers that she's got.
Yeah. The other part that I was thinking here is all the tattoos that Fisher has is basically stuff that he has done. So again, it reminds me a little bit like Maui with the tattoos. Just when he does something great, a tattoo appears in the skin. So it's like playing with the same thing. But here, Saeris, she's getting all these tattoos and basically are like maybe clues about how much power she's going to get or all the stuff that she will be able to do. But following with this same like concept, it's stuff that she maybe has to do or she done before. So I wonder if maybe this tattoo are like traces of her past life when she was maybe like a really powerful fae, and now it's like all of this coming back to her.
So I don't think she ever was a powerful fae. She was just a baby that was put in the wrong place by... Sorry.
Yeah, but it has to be like different life because he's saying that and all these lives, they always end together. So I mean, it's been like different timelines when Fisher and Saeris comes to the same point.
Could be. I tend to think it's more like forward looking though than past looking.
Mm-hmm.
Could be. But I feel like those are the things that she has to do. It's not necessarily all the things that Fisher has done either. The sacrifice one, the sacrifice tattoo, could be that he's got to make an even bigger sacrifice. I mean, he made a sacrifice at Gilethrai, which was like you sacrifice the whole town to stop them becoming feeders, because there was only one of two outcomes. They were all going to become feeders, or they were going to die as human souls. And he took the second option and burned the city to the ground to stop Malcolm getting more troops. So, like, I feel like that was a big enough sacrifice. But it could be that actually the tattoo, he hasn't made his biggest sacrifice yet. There's going to be an even bigger one. And that could be he's going to die to save Saeris, or it could be all sorts of things, couldn't it?
Yeah.
There's the one that is iridescent. She's like, what is this one? And he said, that one's difficult. I can't tell you a definitive answer, not yet. But that means he's speculating. He's got an idea. This is like giving Dumbledore energy, where he's like, I think I know the answer, but I just want to be sure before I tell you the whole truth. And she says there's magic in there, isn't there? And Fisher confirms that there's magic in all of them. But he says it quite nonchalantly. He like takes a big bite out of his breakfast at the same time. And we know that he's just been exposed to magic his whole life. So magic for him is normal. For Saeris, it's completely foreign. So, yeah, I find to her that's mind-blowing. There's magic in her tattoos. And he's just like, well, yeah, obviously. He says if you don't want to keep them, he can cover them up. So he covers them up. But she asks him about his tattoos, and they mean vengeance, justice, sacrifice. I wonder if he knows more. There's maybe a tragic part to this other iridescent rune that he just doesn't want to tell her yet.
Yeah. It has to be even just like the color that's different to the other one. Has to be like a meaning of that. Otherwise, what would be different colored?
Yeah.
It would be just black like the other ones.
Yeah. There's definitely something. So he hides her tattoos with a type of glamour. I call it a glamour because that is what it's called in Sarah J. Maas's world. I'm not going to give away any spoilers, but I don't know another word for it. It's basically a concealment charm. This is the same kind of magic that is hiding Carrion's true identity, the pointy teeth, the pointy ears, and perhaps the same magic that's concealing Elroy's true Fae self, and perhaps the same magic.
Every single Fae that might be in Silverian.
Yeah, and I'm thinking maybe Onyx as well, or whether Onyx is a shapeshifter. There's like lots of everything comes back to me speculating about Onyx. He informs her that she will have to decide within a month or so whether to keep them. If she declines, then they will vanish, and she doesn't know this at the moment, but she will not be bonded anymore to Fisher. Her free trial will end and she'll cancel the credit card. If she does decide she wants to keep them, that means she is now bonded, and she has a lifetime subscription to Kingfisher. We find out that he can't hide the bird, though. We talked about this last week, the theory that the bird actually represents his feelings for her, and he's already decided, and he can't take that back now. The rest of it is on her for her decision. So I wonder what he will have, and whether we find out, I just can't remember, when she accepts the bond, whether he'll get something from her. And his is the bird. I like to imagine that it is a kingfisher bird and not a swift or something. Imagine.
That means that he will get a little Rosha, maybe.
Yeah, a butterfly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. And he kind of looks sad and he walks away, and he like, this conversation over. She asks him why he can't hide that, and he gets like some regret. He has like the fear from the previous night, and he notices the 2 bite marks on her neck or on her collarbone. And he's like, no, I regret that. Like, I can't take that back. And I'm really sorry. And he's like ashamed of what he's done.
Yeah.
Even though it both felt great for both of them. I don't know how, but it did. Okay, chapter 28.
Just ask.
So this is the advice that Carrion gives Saeris. Just ask the Quicksilver. Have you tried it? You talk to it. It's sentient. Just ask it. I don't think there's a necessarily another meaning for this. I'm sure there are. I'm sure there's loads. But I just want to say that I love this mantra, and it's kind of like my life's mantra. You never know what you get if you don't ask. And I've been obviously quite privileged, but I would not have had half the opportunities that I've had if I hadn't just asked for them. And like, I wouldn't have even met you because I was working for a German company and we were all given by default German lessons. I asked for Spanish lessons just because there was some interesting projects in Spain, and I thought, like, this is a German company. I'm never going to be the best German speaker in this company because, I mean, there's a load of native Germans. So, but I might become a good Spanish speaker, which means that I might get opportunities to work on projects abroad. And where do I want to be? So I did French and Spanish and ended up on loads of French and Spanish projects. And had I not been on that Spanish project, I wouldn't have met you because I wouldn't have needed to improve my Spanish. And yeah, so if I hadn't asked to do Spanish instead of German at work, my life would have been completely different. Sorry, I've gone a little bit sentimental there, but I just love this. Like, just ask. You've got nothing to lose. And isn't it weird that she didn't think of this herself? I mean, she says that.
Yeah, that's the part that it got me. That sometimes life is easy. It's just that we like to overcomplicate everything because something as simple as just ask. Sometimes we think about, no, it's just not that simple. It has to be like a process, has to be like a structure, has to be like a knowledge, has to be this and this. And we start to just overthinking about simple things.
Yeah.
And that's what Carrion says to Saeris. Are you even trying that?
Yeah.
It's something so simple.
Yeah, and I feel like, so you just try and do everything yourself, don't you? You're like, you want to do everything yourself, whereas I'm somebody that just asks for help if I need it. And like, I don't think either of them is wrong. I just think that one is quicker. Right, so Saeris is throwing bottles in a rage because the Quicksilver was laughing every time she tried to combine it with something. Carrion joins in, starts throwing bottles as well because he's like, oh, this is what we're doing. That's fine. And then he's like, oh, why didn't you just ask? What have you got to lose?
Yes. For me, it's strange that she didn't think about it because she knew that Quicksilver talks, that sometimes them being kind of like a little conversations there. But I think as well it may be just personality or culture thing. When you don't think that you can get help from anybody, you have to figure out stuff by yourself.
She's never had help from anyone. So yeah, it's actually quite fitting to her character, isn't it?
Yeah.
Whereas Carrion's had, like, for all intents and purposes, he's had quite a loving, caring family, in inverted commas. They're not his blood family, but they're his family.
Yeah.
So he's had help and he's been nurtured, whereas she didn't have that. So it is very in character, isn't it, that she would not think to do this.
Yeah.
So on the way to the map tent to test the theory, because she's like, all right, but he's going to come with her. Carrion is blathering on about some 2-bit smuggler back in Silvarin called Davy, who owed him 17 chits. That's all we get. But, like, no author drops this for no reason. So I have a theory that this is going to be important, and it will come back in later books. If not in the next 2 books, which we know will be from Saeris and Kingfisher's point of view, but possibly 4 or 5, which she said one of those belongs to Carrion, so we might meet Davy at some point. Yeah. I do think it's probably important in this story as well. So in the first 3 books. There's also a deal. Do you remember there was a deal that Saeris was going to make on that day? I wonder if it's all linked. Yeah, I think it's going to come back.
I definitely think that we're going to see these characters in the next book, because it seems, for the start that we see from Kali Hart, the Fisher and Carrion, they're going to be maybe back to Serverian. So I don't know if now that everyone knows that he is let's go to say the rightful king for the Winter Palace, they had to go back to Serverian to get something, and Kingfisher is going to be like the bodyguard from Carrion.
Hayden.
Well, maybe Hayden. I don't know if it's going to be something for Sarah, something that she wants, or maybe something that Carrion needs to maybe to prove, or to, I don't know, some object that he left behind or whatever. And I think
the two of them are going to go together.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we do know that, because we've had the sneak peek from Kali Hart, definitely on her Instagram, where there's like a extract and they're fighting. Kingfisher and Carrion are like alone somewhere far away, and they're fighting with each other, and that's going to be so funny. Yeah, they could be back in Sylvarin.
Yeah, I think that. The other interesting part in this scene is that when they go into the map 10 and the Quicksilver start to feel that she's coming, that she's getting close, is when it start to get like really excited and start to tell that she comes, she hears us, or she's here. And it's like the Quicksilver can feel when she had the intention to talk to the Quicksilver. So like in real intentions as well. So I found that interesting as well.
Well, it might have known she was coming, just sensed it.
Yeah, because she said that normally the Quicksilver is not like this chatting or is not talking to her that much, but it was when she decided it's going to ask something.
Yeah.
When the Quicksilver was like getting excited.
Yeah, I love this magic. Like, this is completely unique for me. I've not read any stories like this where the magic system is a sentient being and you have to do what it wants to make it, as you have to like trade. And I think like she's got how many? 15,000 relics to make or something crazy like that.
Yeah.
That's 15,000.
15,000, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. That's 15,000 requests. How many different requests are they going to be? Are they going to be like a few of them want music, a few of them want a funny joke, like.
Yeah, but still like 15,000 jokes, 15,000 unique songs. So many requirements.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this time it worked. It wanted music, and it said, if you give us a song to keep, then we will forge the most beautiful or most powerful blade, whatever. Shall we have a game?
What's that game?
I mean, there's 15,000. This is supposed to be a funny one. It's very similar to the questions from the Quicksilver that I'm going to ask at the end, but it is subtly different. This one is, what would be the funniest or most awkward thing that the Quicksilver would ask for? Like it's some kind of erotic dance, and you'd have to do that in front of everyone. Streaking through the war camp.
Do you think it will get like we'll ask you for like pranks or something there?
Yeah, that would be good. Like to prank Kingfisher publicly.
Yeah, maybe like make a glamour of somebody's face without even realizing.
Oh, we're so easily amused. Yeah, that would be good. So it worked, and the Quicksilver wants a song this time, not as embarrassing.
Don't you think that like a massive, coincidence that Quicksilver is asking for music and it's Loret, the one who is there, like, oh, can I give you a hand? And he doesn't even know they want music, and he's a musician.
It's a huge coincidence. It's like the author knew that he needed to be
like,
there.
wow.
I mean, obviously it's a coincidence. Everything is in a book. Saeris is going to make a sword. And like I said at the start, not just some tiny dagger, barely capable of inflicting a paper cut, a proper fucking sword.
That's the end of the chapter.
Yes. And the end of the deep dive. So Adina's sketchbook. This is the part of the show where we channel our inner eye as Mummy Kingfisher would and put our oracle skills to the test in the hope. Put our oracle skills to the test in the hope that we get at least something right for Brimstone.
Mm-hmm.
What is your favourite one this week?
Yeah, I think I'm with you, and I'm thinking the Saeris will be able to control all their elements. So it's gonna be maybe little clues with these runes that she has.
Yeah, I think that one would be my favourite theory too. Although, just for the sake of entertainment, I'm going to take it one unhinged step further and say that she's going to be able to control the dragons as well with the Brimstone.
Yeah, there may be the Brimstone inside the dragons going to take over of the dragon. I mean, if I was saying that Quicksilver is taking over Kingfisher body, why not the Brimstone like taking over the dragons?
Actually, it totally could, because you know how Omnam Chakrai for years and years protected the Arjun Fae, and then all of a sudden one year was promised all the food it could eat, and then decided to turn against the Arjun Fae.
Yeah.
It was like Malcolm had won it over. But it would be an interesting theory if actually it was the Brimstone that was taking over.
Yeah.
So, continuing the theme of precognition, let's look ahead to the chapters we're going to cover next week.
So, next week we're going to have 4 chapters, and it's going to be Chapter 29, Ballad of the Agent Gate, Chapter 30, Swear It, Chapter 31, The Dawn, and Chapter 32, Taladeos.
Yes, 4 chapters, but they are quite short. So this is quite a short reading week.
Okay.
Questions from the Quicksilver. So this is the part of the show where we listen hard to the whispers of the Quicksilver and dig deep into our souls for the answer. Last week, if a tattoo appeared on your skin as part of a mating bond, what would you want it to be?
I think maybe I would like something that it doesn't have like a specific shape. So something more like a relic or a rune, like really with like intrinsic rune or something like this. Something that doesn't have like a specific shape. I don't think I will go for like an animal or
something that would represent like me or you.
Yeah, because it's something that I will consider is just for me, that the only one who knows the meaning of this.
Okay.
Because
I was thinking more like there's a kingfisher on Saeris because
he's a... Yeah.
Okay, that's a selfish answer, but fine. I think then that I would probably go for something like a dragon or something like that.
A dragon.
Stars. Something that is like fantasy.
Interesting.
This week, if you were the Quicksilver, what would you ask for?
Interesting.
To do, like...
Yeah, to collaborate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What would be your request if you were the Quicksilver?
Can't say money, can I?
You could. It would be boring. But yeah, you could.
I mean,
yeah, you
want to
can.
collaborate with me? Yeah, pay me.
I mean, that would be really boring. And you answered it already for next week.
Yeah. Okay, you say in the end.
No, you have to think of something new. Sorry.
Okay.
And that's all we've got time for this week. So don't forget to follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Faithfully Fantasy Pod. Come and join the conversation. We would love to hear your theories. So if you've got a Quicksilver theory, send it our way. We always give credit on the show and on socials because, let's be honest, the best theories come from all of you. We also still love to hear your Fourth Wing, Iron Flame, Onyx Storm theories. We did actually do a bonus episode last week on some of the things we've changed our minds about. So you can get access to that on a Spotify or an Apple subscription, plus our Supercast membership.
And with this, we have just one more thing to say. Thank you for listening to Faithfully Fantasy,
the husband and wife podcast talking all things Quicksilver.
We'll see you next week for our deep dive of chapters 29 to 32, and of course, for more Faithfully Fantasy.
Bye!